The New York Rangers are on the brink of elimination after an ugly 4-0 loss to the New Jersey Devils. They were losing 3-0 going into the third and got outshot 20-2. Losing by 3 and were outshot 20-2 in the third, just to kind of put that out there. Yeah, this has gotten worse and worse, and I find myself comparing it to last year against Tampa, but it's different. And last year against Tampa, it hurt more. It hurt a lot more because you were so close to the cup. But it was more understandable. You kind of ran out of gas. Of course, it was a Lightning team that has had a ton of success. And not taking anything away from the Devils. I think this Devil team is excellent. And X is a really good New Jersey Devil team that not only this year is going to make noise, but for years to come. This is a really good Devil team. But obviously, we're talking about the Rangers here. And for them to possibly lose 4 in a row after being up 2-0 back-to-back years, back-to-back series, is absolutely a joke. Absolutely a joke. And they just look like complete shit. Total shit. And they were so close. Game 3, a bounce here, a bounce there. They win that game. And in all likelihood, I'm kind of like, tapering it back just a little bit just because I'm seeing, I like to think, though, that the confidence of the Rangers would have only increased if the Devils down 3-0, it wouldn't have been very high. So I think it's fair to say that in all likelihood they would have won, but it didn't go that way. And the Devils have completely turned the series around. And Lindy Ruff, who, was an assistant coach here a few years ago under David Quinn, and, was really probably very close to being fired by the Devil. I have to think that the leash wasn't long. He was getting booed by Devil fans early this season. Hey, give him credit. He was able to make the adjustments, him and the team, whereas Gerard Gallant, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It's Gallant and the players. It's both. Now, usually the coach is the one that loses their job. And for Gerard Gallant, if you lose on Saturday, you can't be feeling too good if you're him. Now, look, the regular season successes could certainly keep his job, but hey, this is a tough, coaching is not easy in terms of the shelf life is not long. It's not long at all. And the one good thing that might come out of this, and again, the series is not over, but it certainly feels like it is that if they lose in the first round, maybe real change can happen. Whereas, if they made it to round 2, made it to round 3, maybe not much, because really this core needs to be, fixed. And again, for me, it all starts with Artemi Panarin. Just the guy is not built for playoffs. And I don't think that as long as he is a core member of this team, I have a hard time believing that you're going to get to the promised land. And with Mika Zibanejad, what a disappointment it's been. He has really been maybe public enemy number 1 in terms of expectations. I didn't expect Panarin to do all that well, so this doesn't surprise me. Whereas with Mika Zibanejad, once he got going last year, maybe it'll be exactly as it was last year. Let's remember, it was literally Game 6 in the first round when he took off. Maybe that does happen again, right? Maybe. And with Mika Zibanejad, it's a matter of confidence. And so I want him as part of the future, no doubt. But huge disappointment for Mika Zibanejad. Just absolutely awful. Then let's get into, so it's the core, but also, bringing in Tarasenko and more so Kane. I think if it had just been the Tarasenko trade, fine. Not I'm totally fine with that. But bringing in Kane as well, then it becomes, like a star-studded country club fucking team. And Patrick Kane is just, he's as bad as I kind of thought he'd be. He did have that Game 2. Hey, Game 2 was really good. It was kind of vintage Patrick Kane. We did see it. It is there. But man, you're not going to win. With Patrick Kane, we saw a line change towards the end that I would stick with. And it was breaking up the kid line. So it's Kreider, Zibanejad, Kakko. And then Lafreniere, Hedl, Kane. I would stick with that. I really, really would. I would go with that for sure. Does it scare me from a defensive side on the Hedl line? It does. But I just think that I would do that. Look, unfortunately, Philip Hedl really has not done a whole lot of anything. And that's disappointing because Hedl is another player who I had high expectations for. Alexis Lafreniere, wow. He is not very good. Let's call it as we see it. Very good chance he's going to be a bust. I hate using that word, but yeah, he's not going to live up to being that number 1 pick. I would be stunned I'd be stunned. Look, can he be a good NHL player? Yeah, but at least with Kako, you see a skill set. And with him, too. Kako's not going to live up to being number 2 pick. I'd be surprised on that as well. But you can see this could be a good NHL player, Kako. Honestly, it's frustrating. Like, you wish that there was more. But with Lafreniere, it's like, what even is this guy? Seriously. I mean, he looks like a nothing. And Alexis Lafreniere, yeah, I mean, very, very disappointed in him. And the fourth line, again, like, they're hardworking players, but they're nothing special. And I thought the fourth line could have been a nice difference maker. That has not been the case either. Looking at the defense, it was a rough night, I guess. I mean, for Adam Fox, it was a bit of a rough night. Look, I still think he is really probably the best player. I mean, besides Igor Shesterkin, we'll talk about him. But for Fox is probably the best player on this team, pound for pound, skater on this team, pound for pound. Jacob Trouba, it's like it is what it is. He's the captain, and so you're kind of stuck with him. But kind of on that Panarin theme, I would love to trade Jacob Trouba if at all possible. I know that he does provide an element that you need, but what this defense really needs is mobility. They got no mobility. There's not many players in this defense that can make a fucking pass. Braden Schneider, I don't know. Still very young, right? Braden Schneider, a young defenseman who probably came up a lot sooner than expected. But hey, the progress there has not been all that good either. So, and then of course, Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller, he was a real asset in the playoffs last year. Look, he's a kind of a high risk, high reward type of player. But for Keandre Miller, what has happened there? So I think I basically touched upon almost everyone. And I guess the few players I didn't, like Vinny Trocheck, disappointing. Honestly, disappointing. Was supposed to be like a face-off, whiz, and kind of was in the early season. That has not been the case this postseason. And for Chris Kreider, as much as you like the 5 goals, and but 5-on-5, Kreider 5-on-5, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there. So, Game 6, we'll see. I'm sure the crowd will be into it to start, but what happened last night? And we're gonna just kind of shift over. And again, Igor Shesterkin, he's the last person that I'm going to criticize. He really did everything he could. This game could have been, the Devils could have scored 6 goals in this game, honestly. And Akira Schmid has made 80 saves and 82 shots in the 3 games since he's been in there, and yet still, he's not even really being tested all that much. Give him credit, because I thought tonight he made some really good saves. The Rangers tonight had more opportunities than the game before, which, obviously. But 39 seconds into this game, the Devils take the lead on a fluky play. And so it's imperative in Game 6, even though the Rangers did it in Game 3 and still lost, the Rangers got to get that first goal in Game 6, get the crowd into it, and roll from there. I think that first goal in Game 6 is very, very important, for sure. So Andre Palat scores his second goal of the series unassisted. This was a play where Trocheck wins the faceoff, and Shesterkin, I'm not sure if he was trying to make a play with it or trying to make a save. I think he was kind of caught in between. And the wingers, Tarasenko and Panarin, are trying to shoot up the ice on a defensive zone draw. And what ends up happening is it ends up on the stick of Palat. He takes a shot, it deflects off of Fox and in. A very fluky play. I'm not sure where the most blame goes. I guess it's kind of easy to say Tarasenko and Panarin, the wingers that should have been more, that should have stayed home more. For Trocheck, I'm not sure if there was communication about, hey, if we win this faceoff, it's going here. But a fluky bad goal that was just a bad omen for the Rangers, and Palat kills the Rangers again, and he makes it 1-0. Then Mika Zibanejad takes a penalty at 6:45. Right call. He interfered with Nico Hischier. Felt like Zibanejad was trying to do too much in this game, honestly. And the Rangers do kill that off. Then at 8:23, there's matching minors to Timo Meier and Ryan Lindgren. And then at 13:51, at 13:51, Siegenthaler hooks Tarasenko. So the Rangers had some momentum. I would say, you look at this game, the first period was the best period for the Rangers. The Rangers played a solid first period. Really, I came out of that period thinking it's frustrating that 1-0, but they weren't playing badly. But the power play fails them again. It only had 2 chances in this game, but one of them actually led to a short-handed goal. So the Rangers were actually -1 on the power play. It has really bit them in the ass. After a great first 2 games, the last 3 have been nothing. So the Devils kill that off. We go to the second, and Patrick Kane trips Jack Hughes at 128. Patrick Kane, look, the guy's basically done, as far as I'm concerned. Patrick Kane is not a player you want if you want to win a Stanley Cup right now. He's not. I hate to break it to people that still think that, he can do it. He can't. If the Rangers make it through, it's not going to be because Kane, went crazy. Now, look, he was kind of brought in to be somewhat of a secondary piece, but, he still gets a shit ton of minutes and a lot of responsibility. So Patrick Kane trips Jack Hughes, and it actually was a power play goal. At the end of the power play, Eric Haula scores his second goal of the series from Mercer and Severson. So Haula wide open in front with a deflection on a shot by, I guess, Mercer or Severson. And Haula deflects it in. It trickles by Shesterkin. And the Devils take a 2-0 lead. And, again, just, the Devils are so much faster than the Rangers. The speed is just not even close. At 12:04, you get a fight between Goodrow and Kevin Ball, and there was an unsportsmanlike penalty on Damon Severson. So all right, maybe this can be a turning point. Goodrow trying to fire the team up, and you get a power play. And what happens? It's a fucking shorthanded goal for Dawson Mercer at 13:32. Mercer from Haula. And that was just kind of the combination. I mean, Mercer and Haula were key figures on the special teams, power play and shorthanded, and a great shot, a 2-on-1. And this was a play where Panarin fumbles it. And that's just Artemi Panarin for you, where it leads to turnovers. The hustle to get back is basically non-existent. And the Devils take a 3-0 lead. A great shot by Dawson Mercer. Nothing Shesterkin could do about that. And it gives the Devils a 3-0 lead. And at that point, it was over. It was done. Once Mercer scored there, likes camera action and out. Fucking done. So third period, Zibanejad takes another early penalty. A questionable call, but the game was over. 36 seconds, Zibanejad, goal interference. The Rangers kill it off at 9:51. Another Patrick Kane penalty. Ho-hum. A holding penalty. Rangers kill that off. And then at 13:45, matching minors to Lindgren and Siegenthaler. Honestly, Siegenthaler was punching fucking Lindgren in the fucking head. I don't know why it was only a roughing penalty, but whatever. Then in 1913, there was a Lindgren slashing minor and Goodrow a misconduct. And yeah, Devils outshoot the Rangers 43-23. They win it 3-0. This was pure domination. This is pure domination. The Devils are the better team. That's what you have to realize, that the Devils are the better team. With that said, the Rangers blew a major, major opportunity. It's game 3 and 4, right? I mean, 4 was a joke, but 3 is the one where it stings. And it stung at the time, but you didn't know, right? Because you're kind of hoping, all right, maybe they'll turn around game 4, go up 3-1, and you totally live with it. So you didn't know how much it stung, but the more time goes on, you realize it. Whereas last year with the Lightning, I kind of felt it immediately and knew, this is going to come back to bite us. Whereas with the Devil one, I was still hopeful. All right, you still have 2-1, and then game 4 was a joke. But even you figure they'll respond, but no. The Devils have figured the Rangers out, and can Gerard Gallant make any adjustments? I have my doubts. He has not shown the ability to do so. I think from a motivational standpoint, he's mostly been a very good head coach. Look, Gallant replacing David Quinn, it's been a lot of good, right? It's not fair, because Gallant really has, turned this team around, and I think, would be looked at mostly fondly, and maybe it is premature to think that he'd be fired, but I think it's on the table. I think it's on the table for it to happen. I don't think it will, but if it did happen, I think it's somewhat justifiable based on, especially if you lose Saturday. And again, you lose all 3 at Madison Square Garden. That is kind of embarrassing. I know that road teams win easily, but you got to win at home, right? You got to win at home. And I know the fans will be behind them to start, but if things go south quickly, they might turn on them. To think about more positive things, last year against Pittsburgh, the Rangers were down 3-1. Against Carolina, they were down 2-0 and 3-2, and they came back and won 5 elimination games in those first 2 series. So the Rangers have mostly, now obviously last year against Tampa, they lost in game 6. They kind of ran out of gas at that point. The Rangers have mostly, they have played their best when their backs are against the wall. I'll give them that. You do have Igor Shesterkin in net, who is looking good. And if you can pull out game 6, then look, game 7 is a situation where anything can kind of happen. I still think, though, that the Devils are the better team and that will prevail, but this is a different type of pressure, right? The Devils, winning that fourth game, it's different. It is different. So I think that, winning tonight would have been huge to go up 3-2, but they're down 3-2 now. The series isn't over. But, man, the Rangers have their work cut out for them, and a lot needs to change. A lot needs to change. They have to be the ones that make the adjustment and put some doubt into the Devils. The Devils have no doubt right now. This is a completely confident team. But the Rangers, they have to get to the net. They have to screen Schmid. They have to do the dirty work, which they refuse to do. Well, if they don't do it, their season's over. It's now or never. They have to. So we will see what happens. Again, the Rangers lose. And sorry, I said 3-0. I totally disregarded the empty net goal. So that was there was an empty net goal by Eric Howell at 14:48. So when it was 4-on-4, they pulled the goalie to make it 5-on-4, and they lost the face-off, and then Howell just shot it down and scored. So actually, the final score was 4-0. But yeah, the Rangers they head home back to Madison Square Garden, looking to get a win at home for the first time in this playoffs. Devils ready to clinch. Rangers on the brink of elimination. They find themselves down in this best-of-7 series, 3-2.